Will Jason Todd be able to make his ragtag super team of the undead work, or will he end up on the menu before he knows it? Let's hop into the pages of Task Force Z issue number 2 and find out together, shall we? So then, picking up from where the last issue left off, Red Hood had taken his crew of zombies on their maiden voyage to try and crack down on a smuggling ring spearheaded by Mr. Freeze. Red Hood had beaten Mr. Freeze just fine single-handedly. Unfortunately, when he punctured his suit though, he ended up causing a massive blizzard inside the warehouse. Now he's stuck and Astrid Arkham, the Arkham Knight, is ready to eat him. Geez, it's like there's no loyalty amongst zombies or something. The most surprising revelation though from last week actually comes in the form of Mr. Bloom. He's part of Task Force Z2, but they make it very clear that he's different than the other zombies. Bloom actually follows a very injured Mr. Freeze outside, and I think it's implied that he either kills him all over again or doses him with some of that Lazarus Resin. In fact, it's actually Bloom who manages to return and save Jason by giving Astrid Arkham an infusion of more of that precious resin. Not only does it heal her injuries, but actually gives her back a portion of her lost intelligence. All in all though, this first mission was a big old bust, and Jason is ready to tell Dr. Shelley, the mysterious Crispin, and pretty much anyone else who will listen to him at the chop shop that he's ready to quit. Still though, the powers that be within Task Force Z are actually weirdly supportive of Jason, saying that these zombified villains deserve redemption, and so does he. We also discover this issue that despite being horribly mangled in the fight with Mr. Freeze, Bane, Man-Bat, and the others are actually more than salvageable. As we discover from the ever-so-creepy Dr. Shelley, apparently so long as the subject's brain is not destroyed, then Lazarus Resin can actually resurrect them and repair the damage. There's just two pretty massive and glaring downsides, though. One, they tend not to give their subjects too much Lazarus Resin, as if they did, well, they'd be resurrected as if they were thrown in the Lazarus pit. And two, Lazarus Resin, as we've seen, is horribly addictive, and once you run out of it, you become the more traditional shambling Romero type of zombie. Dr. Shelley even secretly tries to dose Jason with some Lazarus Resin herself, saying that he needs it to recover from his injuries, but let's face it, they want to get Jason good and hooked on the stuff too. Geez, you know, Amanda Waller would be proud. Who needs to put a tiny little bomb at the base of your skull when they can just keep you loyal with good old-fashioned crank? Jason and Astrid Arkham actually end up having an awkward little meet cute in the corridor too, because Astrid had taken so much, most of her personality and intelligence returned to her, meaning that she's still a zombie, but you know, not one of the messed up ones. And I mean, really, is it so weird for Jason when we stop and consider that he was once legally dead and brought back through the power of the Lazarus pit, so really he's almost as much zombie as the rest of his team. Now Red Hood barely gets a moment to relax though when Crispin, the Task Force mysterious benefactor, sends them out on their next mission. This time they're going to be recruiting yet another member to their ranks. The team finds their way to a creepy old theater. I don't think it's the Monarch Theater, but I mean, hey, you wouldn't be shocked, right, that Gotham had more than one creepy old theater in it? Surprise, surprise though, Task Force Z ends up stumbling into a trap. It seems that this very same theater is just so happening to house the Cult of the Cobra. Ah yes, that famous snake-worshipping cult from DC Comics that always seems like it's getting decimated, but who always seems to be able to get back on their feet. Wow, 2021 really is a great time for cults. This time though, Red Hood and Task Force Z actually fare much better as a team, actually managing to help each other out. Jason and Astrid especially end up managing to get on the same page, and it's cool to see Arkham Knight and Red Hood fight side by side, especially given that Arkham Knight got their start in a video game. And hey, spoiler for a 6-year-old video game, but the twist there is that Jason Todd actually was the Arkham Knight in that case. This fight itself actually ends up being pretty damn bloody, and ultimately with good reason too, as Jason figures the best way to stop from getting overrun by cultists is to use his brand new electrified crowbars. No, they don't really explain where he got them from or why he's choosing them over guns, to electrocute the baddies by using the blood on the floor as a conductor. Can you actually really do that? I know water conducts electricity and blood is mostly liquid, but I've never actually really seen that done before. It's here too, despite the team's earlier improvement, they all end up getting split up. Bane falls down a hole and the rest of the team ends up going deeper and deeper in the theater. It's in the basement they discover a strange coffin that just so happens to be housing their next member, Floyd Lawton Deadshot. You'll remember he met his end during the excellent Tom Taylor Suicide Squad story, and because this is technically a Task Force blank, I guess you have to have Deadshot in here. It's basically a rule. I also find it deeply ironic too, if you're reading the current Suicide Squad book, then you'll know Amanda Waller is actually also making use of Lazarus Resin to keep some of her members in line and from dying. I wonder if we're gonna see a crossover at some point. Jason is once again royally pissed at Crispin and the powers that be for walking him into what seemed to be another trap, but before he can properly get his emotions out, though, Deadshot ends up coming to and seemingly shooting Jason. Don't worry though, I don't think he shot him in the head, so even if he's dead, he'll just be a little bit grosser later. Nothing too bad. And so that was Task Force Z issue number 2, everybody. Another thoroughly enjoyable, if not necessarily mind-blowing little issue. This book certainly is taking a lot of time to explain all the lore and rules around a concept as simple as Red Hood leads a team of zombies. But, you know, I feel one of the worst things about Jason Todd and Red Hood stories in general is that a lot of writers have underwritten him. So I guess I shouldn't complain about a writer going above and beyond to try and have it all be a little bit more deeper and a little bit more complex this time. I don't know if I'm truly won over by this book's team dynamics yet. Yes, there are a lot of famous supervillains on this group, but they're zombie versions of themselves, so their personalities aren't exactly the same. Astrid Arkham is the one who actually shows the most character, and it seems that they're really going to be focusing on her relationship with Jason, which is certainly a cool dynamic. We also learn a lot more about Hannah in this issue. Apparently, not only is she a zombie, but apparently she's some sort of horrifying ancient creature of darkness that predates even Amadeus Arkham themselves. I'm sure that's gonna go somewhere at some point. Ultimately, though, I would give this one a 7 out of 10. I liked it, but it didn't change my life.
Hey there everyone, Kate Joel again, and I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. And hey, if you enjoyed the book I covered in this issue and want some comics of your own, might I recommend Book Depository? It's my #1 place for shopping for comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll actually be helping me out at the same time. You get something, I get something, everybody wins, right? So until next time everyone, I've been Joel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.